So it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's news of the week. And as I said last week, as we approach to July and the transfer window open again in MLS, this is the time where there's going to be a lot of rumor that is swirling around the MLS world, and that there are some rumors that are just crazy, and there are actually some rumors that could actually happen, and it actually kind of makes sense for some of these teams to try to get those players via these kind of rumors that's kind of swirling around. Now, this week there has been a lot of rumors surrounding South American player coming to MLS, and I'm guessing the reason why that is the case is because Copa America is going on right now, and I'm guessing teams are really kind of paying close attention to Copa America. I mean, they're also paying close attention to the Gold Cup so that they can potentially get a guy that is kind of an outstanding player in the Gold Cup and sign them in the transfer window. But they're mostly looking at Copa America because, that tournament is more prestige than the Gold Cup is. And one of those guys that has been having a good Gold Cup for his national team is Roger Martinez, who is rumored to leave Club America for MLS. He's been having a very good Gold Cup with Colombia. I believe he also scored an amazing goal in one of the Copa America game for Colombia. And since he is leaving Club America to MLS, and whether if this is going to happen, I have a feeling somebody's going to have to splash out the money to get him, because Club America has known to be a club that when they release their player, they don't release them for cheap. They release them very expensively, and especially the fact that, if Club America decide to release a player to MLS, they know that they're going to have to swell up the price even more. I mean, we already saw earlier this season when Liga MX team trying to sell their important player. We already saw how the Timbers had to pay a lot of money to get Brian Fernandez, because Niketska, they didn't want to really lose him to an MLS team, so that they kind of jacked up the price. Club America is probably going to do the same thing, but I have a feeling they're going to do it even more, and that they're going to try to jack up like 13 or 14 million for an MLS team to try to afford Roger Martinez. And it'll be interesting to see which MLS team would decided to kind of splash out the cash to get him, because he's definitely a very decent striker that could definitely do very well in MLS. Now, another striker that could potentially come to MLS, and it's actually Roger Martinez country companion Miguel Borja is once again linked with an MLS move. Now, the reason why I said he's once again linked with an MLS move is because back in March, I don't know if I have mentioned it in the news of the week, but he was actually linked with Montreal, and that deal never really come to fruition. And now once again he is linked in the market too. And I'm gonna be interested to see whether or not if Montreal decide to try to get him, because it would make sense for Montreal to get a striker, consider they don't really have a striker or even a goal scorer on their team ever since Piatti is now out for a couple of weeks. But then again, it is a very pricey kind of move that could happen, and that if Montreal is going to try to get him, or if any MLS team is going to try to get him, they're going to have to splash out the cash, because Miguel Borja, he's come from Palmeiras, which is one of the biggest club in Brazil, and we know that most of those big clubs in Brazil, when they sell their best young player, they usually ask for a hefty kind of price. So it'll be interesting to see if any MLS team would decide to splash out that cash to get him. And I have no doubt that both of these players could potentially be DP player if they do come to MLS. Now, another South American player could potentially come to MLS is Paraguayan left back Miguel Simorno Dio, who is looking to move to MLS. Now, unlike these two players that kind of said that they want to leave their club, Dio, he's with Querétaro with in Liga MX, and he's been kind of saying that, well, I want to come to MLS, but at the same time I also want to play in Argentina, and that if he decided to go to Argentina, then this rumor of him coming to MLS is basically dead. And the other interesting thing about him is that he's 32 years old, and that I know there are a lot of teams in the league that really needs a left back. I mean, the left back position is usually one of the hardest position for team to get it right, because there's just not really a lot of quality left back that is playing in MLS. And Summerdeal, from what I heard, he's a very quality left back. But the question is, the age is going to be an issue, because he's already 32 years old. He's already kind of way past his prime. And whether or not, if right now a lot of teams need left back, how desperate does a lot of team that they need to get a left back that, yes, they're kind of past their prime. Yes, they're going to get into they're probably gonna be retired in the next couple of years, and that still we're just going to get him because we really need a left back. Now, the rumor, of course, with South American player coming to MLS isn't the only rumor that has happened this week. In fact, the two upcoming club, Nashville and Austin, have also been in the rumor kind of news. And it started with Anthony Pregot is actually looking to try to recruit Chicharito to Austin FC. Now, I've been saying that Chicharito, I think one day he is going to come to MLS. I mean, he's been rumored to come to MLS for a very long time. Ever since a couple of years ago when he was rumored to go to the LA Galaxy, and obviously that never happened. And now there's people saying that he's going to go to LAFC because LAFC has an open spot. But now it seemed like Austin FC and Anthony Precourt basically just told those team to hold their brakes, and that we are going to join in the sweepstake to try to get Chicharito. Now, I don't think it's really kind of a sweepstake anymore, because Chicharito, he's going to turn 33 if Austin does get him. And although Chicharito is probably one of the best Mexican striker to ever plays for Mexico, and that he's definitely a name that is known to a lot of Mexican fans and even some Americans fans too, for the wrong reason. Okay, but one thing that I am worried is that, Chicharito, since he's 33 years old, and he's going to be kind of like one of those players like Wayne Rooney, David Villa, and Zlatan kind of come into the league around the same age. However, unlike Zlatan, Villa, and also Wayne Rooney, I don't think Chicharito has that kind of big of a name. I mean, there's no doubt that the namesake Zlatan, Rooney, and Villa is much bigger than what it is Chicharito, and they're probably even better than him when he come to the league. So this is kind of an odd one for Precock to decided that, we're going to get a big player, and that we're going to try to kind of follow the same formula that NYCFC does, which is we're going to try to bring in an old player, and also follow the same format as what LAFC does when they decided to recruit Vela. Only different is Vela was at his peak of his power once LAFC recruit him. Chicharito kind of has already passed that if he does decide to sign with Austin FC. Now, the other expansion team that's coming into the league soon, Nashville FC, has also interest in a player from Europe, and a player that is pretty well known. They're looking to try to get Atletico Madrid right back Juan Fran. Now, this one is also pretty interesting because, not a lot of teams usually decided to get their first signing as a right back. Like, they usually decide to go for an attacking kind of player, and that Juan Fran, he's a very decent right back. He used to be one of the world's best right back in the world, but ever since a couple of years ago where age has really caught up to him, he is not as good as he was a couple of years ago, and that there's already a lot of rumor that he is going to leave Atletico Madrid sooner than later. So, with Nashville interest in him, he's 33 years old, and it's kind of the same case with what I said about Miguel Samadio, where he's kind of like almost in his mid-30s, and that when you are a fullback that is in the mid-30s, yeah, that's when you know that your playing career is going to really come to a close very soon. Like, we don't usually see a lot of right backs that can play as old as into like their maybe late 30s and into maybe their early 40s. So yeah, this is definitely an interesting kind of move, although this is interesting because of the fact that not only they're signing another kind of player that is just going to come to MLS to retire, but it's not an attacker. It's a kind of defender, which is a very unusual kind of role. And if they do sign Juan, I will be shocked if he actually would be named the DP for Nashville. If they name him the DP, then I think that is a bad idea, because you don't sign a 33-year-old right back, and even though he's one of the well-known right backs in the world, you don't sign a DP player that is 33 years old and he's a right back, and that, most teams, they usually spend their DP money on an attacking player. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if Nashville, of course, would decided to sign him. Speaking of moving on into the next news, and speaking of Chicharito, former club West Ham, and also Miguel Almiron, current club Newcastle United, is actually going to be looking to try to get RSL forward Jefferson Savarino, and the report price is going to be around $6 to $8 million. Now, Jefferson Savarino has been one of the key players for RSL. He does a very good job in terms of holding the ball every time on the attack, and he's very skillful when trying to dribbling across a couple of defender. And obviously, if RSL decide to sell him, then yeah, they are going to lose a very big piece on the attacking end. However, when you look at the price where it's like $6 to $8 million, that is definitely a price that, for RSL, they would definitely take it in a heartbeat. Like that is definitely a price that they can really get to trying to maybe sign a couple of decent player, and that, even if they're going to let go one of their best player, that, he's been there for a couple of years, and I think Savarino, with what he has done in MLS and what he has done with RSL, he definitely deserves a move to try to play for a club in Europe. And now you got two clubs that is very well known in the Premier League in West Ham and Newcastle. I won't be surprised if this move does happen. And even if RSL is going to lose probably their best player, that price tag of $6 to $8 million, that's a lot of money, and that's really hard to resist and say no to, especially with RSL, not a club that's known to provide homegrown talent, but they're not known in terms of selling them for like that much amount of price. Now, one player that is definitely not going to be leaving, despite the fact that there's rumor that he's going to go to Napoli, and that Napoli has already set up a big price tag to try to get him, is Ezequiel Barco. And it is actually confirmed by Atlanta United Atlanta United general manager Darren Eales. He's confirmed that Barco is not leaving Atlanta this season, which, like I said in the last episode when I talk about this rumor, it makes sense why Barco is not leaving this season. I mean, I know he's been here for a year and a half, but this is really the first season where this is exactly what Atlanta was hoping when they got Barco for $15 million last season. And I think with him being the most important player on the team, even with the heavy price tag, I feel like there's no reason to really sell him now. I definitely can see that Barco could be following the same path as what Almiron did, which is eventually he's going to sell to a big club, and Atlanta is going to acquire a lot of that moolah. But, as of now, with Barco being the most important player, I think that it would be smart it would be dumb for Atlanta to decide to sell him, and that it's smart that they keep him for another year or two before eventually they're going to do what they did to Miguel Almiron, which is eventually sell him to Europe to earn that profit that they're going to earn to bring up another big rising kind of talent in South America right now. But next up, and the Sounders. Yeah, Sounders fan, you do not want to hear this. Will Bruin has suffered a serious leg injury during training, and the reason why I said that you don't want to hear this is because this is probably the worst possible time to see one of your player go down, and especially with the fact that the entire team is either injured or currently with their national team in Copa America in the Gold Cup. The last thing they need is another injury, and the last thing they definitely need is another injury to their attacking end, which their entire attacking end has just been completely dissipated. Like they're on a point where they need to really start. There are some guys that is kind of on the bench, and also getting some guys that is currently play for their for Tacoma Defiance, who is their USL affiliate, to just come in just to kind of short up things on the attacking end. And there is no doubt that this is definitely not going to help the cause. And they also are saying that Will Bruin probably will be out for the rest of the season, and maybe even out for a significant time next season, because he looked like he suffered a torn ACL. And all I have to say about that is I really wish Will Bruin a speedy recovery. I mean, you always hate when you see players that go down because they torn their ACL, but it's also the fact that you hate to see it during training too. Like, during game, when you see player go down with a torn ACL during game, it's unfortunate. But when you see it during training, that's even more unfortunate because it doesn't really happen. So, yeah, for the Sounders, this is definitely a tough break for them. And I think besides SKC, they're probably one of the team that is probably the most injury prone this season. I mean, they just cannot stay healthy. Like, they just cannot keep guys healthy on this team no matter how much they try. So, yeah, this has got to be very disappointing for Seattle. But next up, now, I don't think this is true. And apparently Paul Tenorio, one of the MLS soccer expert, denies that this is actually a true news. But apparently when I look around the internet, and when I found a couple of articles said that there is report that Beckham have sold the rest of his stake with Inter Miami, that really kind of shocked me, because I thought that, with Beckham, what he had said with Inter Miami, it looked like he's going to be committing to this team until you really decide not to commit this team anymore. And that the fact that I hear rumors saying that he has sold off the rest of his stake to another investor, and that he's no longer kind of like the owner of Inter Miami, yeah, that doesn't really make sense. But apparently that's what some of the reports are saying. And like I said, Portinario, he denies it. He said that these rumors are absolutely false. These rumors are just kind of gossip news to kind of shock anybody, even though it's completely not true. And, Paul Tenorio is one of the best MLS soccer expert around MLS, so I would definitely take his word the fact that this is not true. But we'll see. We'll see in the upcoming month that whether or not if this news was actually true, or is this just kind of news that they're just trying to kind of entertain people as we're kind of in this Gold Cup break. Like right now, MLS until Saturday, there isn't really any games, so occasionally you're gonna see some of these articles where there's just some crazy rumors and just something that gets MLS fans excited when there's no games happening, only to find out that that is just completely false. And I think I can even add the Luis Suarez kind of report a couple of weeks ago onto that list, where it was just some crazy gossip that it doesn't seem like it's going to be true anymore, because I haven't heard anything about Luis Suarez coming to MLS again besides that one article that I read a couple of weeks ago. And finally, MLS have released their All-Star jersey, and I'm going to show it to you right here on the camera if you guys can see it. I'm not quite sure you guys can see it very well, but, if you can't see it, you can always go on MLSsoccer.com, and I think they have an article where they talk about that they released the All-Star jersey. And, the All-Star jersey, I know some people, they said that, some people said that it's not as nice as last season. I mean, last season, All-Star jersey were absolutely amazing, and I wish that I actually bought one. I mean, I could still buy one, but the thing is, it's already like, if I buy it now, it's already like a year old, and there's really no point at that. I mean, players are not really going to wear that. And there's a reason why I usually don't buy these kind of jersey, because they're only used for one game, and that's it. Like, after this game, like after this All-Star game in Orlando, they're not going to wear these kind of jersey again. But, I know that some people don't like these kind of jersey because it feels kind of like an amateur kind of looks. But to me, I actually kind of like it. I love the color. Obviously, they gone with purple because this MLS All-Star game is taking place in Orlando. And every time when MLS team hosts an All-Star game, they usually match the same color as the team that the city is hosting in. So Orlando City, of course, wearing purple. That's why they decided to go purple. And I always love purple on a kit, and it's something, and it's the reason why Orlando City is one of the first jersey that I bought when I started to buying jersey. But I can understand why some people don't like it, and I think the only thing that I really don't like about this jersey is the Target logo. I mean, I know MLS All Star is sponsored by Target, but do you really need to like slap it right into the middle? I mean, it just does not look very good. And in some way, when I look at this jersey right here, this really reminds me of the Minnesota United jersey. Like, if this was the Minnesota United jersey, I would definitely buy it in a heartbeat because, you know, with I know Minnesota United has, when you look at their logo, it has nothing to do with purple, so most likely they're gonna release that as an away kit or even like a third kit. But still, you know, I feel like this would look good with Minnesota, but in terms of All-Star game, yeah, I don't think that, you know, I don't think it really kind of fit that. And also, speaking of Minnesota, this is the big reason why I still haven't bought a Minnesota jersey. I really want to get a Minnesota jersey before I go to Allianz Field in August. And yes, I'm not gonna completely confirm that I am going to Allianz Field in August, but I want to make sure I get one of the Minnesota United jerseys so I can wear it during the game. But the thing is, the one that I look at, the home kit that they have costs like $119, and when I look around eBay, they're only selling the away kit, and I really do not like that away kit that Minnesota United has. I mean, it just looks like a t-shirt with a Target logo on there. Like, I could literally just make one myself if I would have desired to do so. Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, that's why I haven't bought a Minnesota jersey yet, and that I feel like next season when they release a new home kit, I hope it's gonna be very good where I can just kind of like buy one, and that, you know, that of course is the jersey that I want to buy for Minnesota United. Now, that being said, that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and if there's any other big news that I missed, make sure you guys leave a comment below and tell me what exactly it is. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time.